Hello everyone! Now we are going to learn about coherence and cohesion. Let's get started. What makes a text cohere? What differentiates a cohesive grammatical unit from a random collection of sentences? Cohesion and coherence are terms used in discourse analysis and text linguistics to describe the properties of written texts. Advertising language tends not to use clear markers of cohesion, but is interpreted as being coherent. Coherence: the ways a text makes sense to readers and writers through the relevance and accessibility of its configuration of concepts, ideas, and theories. Cohesion: the grammatical and lexical relationship between different elements of a text which hold it together. Coherence: a semantic property of discourse formed through the interpretation of each individual sentence, relative to the interpretation of other sentences, with interpretation implying interaction between the text, the reader, and the writer. A property that a reader will discern in the text, allows the reader to make sense of the text, refers to the semantic unity created between the ideas, sentences, paragraphs, and sections of a piece of writing. Coherence and cohesion. Coherence: very general principle of interpretation of language in text. Fewer formal linguistic features, for example, vocabulary choice. Relationship: deal with text as a whole, based on primarily semantic relationships. Error: much more obvious. Cohesion: formal linguistic features, for example, repetition, reference, semantic relationships between sentences and within sentences, determined by lexically and grammatically ordered intertextual relationships, more recognizable. Is it coherent or not? The ancient Egyptians were masters of preserving dead people's bodies by making mummies of them. Mummies several thousand years old have been discovered nearly intact. The skin, hair, teeth, fingernails, and toenails, and facial features of the mummies were evident. It is possible to diagnose the disease they suffered in life, such as smallpox, arthritis, and nutritional deficiencies. The process was remarkably effective. Sometimes apparent were the fatal afflictions of the dead people. A middle-aged king died from a blow on the head, and polio killed a child king. Mummification consists of removing the internal organs, applying natural preservatives inside and out, and then wrapping the body in layers of bandages. Below is the same paragraph revised for coherence. Italics indicates pronouns and repeated by keywords. Bold indicates transitional tag words, and underlining indicates parallel structures. You can see from the text. Is it clear? Let's move on to the next. According to Halliday and Hasan, a text is a semantic unit whose parts are linked together by explicit cohesive ties. Cohesive tie: a semantic and/or lexicogrammatic relation between an element in text and some other element that is crucial to interpretation of it. Even though within sentence ties occur the cohesive ties, across sentence boundaries are those which allow sequence of sentences to be understood as text. Cohesion therefore defines a text as text. Halliday and Hasan identified general categories of cohesive devices that signal coherence in text. Reference, grammatical cohesion. Ellipsis is also grammatical cohesion. Substitution, conjunction, lexical cohesion. Halliday and Hasan's taxonomy of cohesive devices. Reference, replacement of words and expressions with proforms. For example, pronouns, pro-modifiers. There are three types of reference: personal, demonstrative, comparative. Cohesion consists in continuity of referential meaning, relatedness of reference. References, personal, communication goal of referent. Demonstrative, proximity of referent. Comparative, similarity to preceding referent. Types of reference: personal reference, a reference by means of person, includes personal pronouns, for example, I, he, she. Possessive pronouns, mine, hers, his. Possessive determiners, for example, my, your, her. For example, English is considered an international language. It is spoken by more than 260 million people all over the world. They told me you had gone by her car. Demonstrative reference, essentially a form of verbal pointing. The speaker identifies the referent by locating it on a scale of proximity. In general, this, these, and here imply proximity to the speaker. That, those, and there imply distance from the speaker. Demonstrative reference, like personals, the demonstratives regularly refer hexaphorically to something within the context of situation. How do you like a cruise in that yacht? Pick this up. Comparative references contributes to textual cohesion by setting up a relation of contrast, expressed by such adjectives as same, identical, equal. Adjectives in a comparative degree such as bigger, faster, and adverbs such as identically, likewise, so, such, etc. For example, she has a similarly furnished room to mine. Halliday and Hasan call within text cohesive ties anaphoric and references items outside the text hexaphoric. Reference, you can look at the situational hexaphora, textual anaphora, inside and outside, anaphora, cataphora. Halliday and Hasan call within text cohesive ties anaphoric. For example, wash and core 6 cooking apples. Put them into a fireproof dish. An example of anaphoric reference when them referred back to apples. A reference signals to the reader what kind of information is to be retrieved. Them therefore signals to the reader that he or she needs to look back in the text to find its meaning. Anaphora includes anaphora to preceding text and cataphora to following text. For example, we went to Devon for a holiday. The people we stayed with had 4 children. The eldest girl was about 9. The first is the cataphoric, since there is no lexical relation between people and anything in the preceding sentence. The second, the, is both cataphoric and anaphoric. Cataphoric, eldest, defines girl. Anaphoric, girl, is related to children. Halliday and Hasan call references items outside the text hexaphoric. For example, for he is a jolly good fellow, and so say all of us. As readers outside of this environment, we are unfamiliar with who the he is that is being referred to, but most likely the people involved are aware of the he. When the meaning is not explicit from the text itself, but is obvious to those in a particular situation, this is called exaphoric reference. Halliday and Hasan's taxonomy of cohesive devices. Substitution. Substitution is a replacement of one item by another, a relation in the wording rather than in the meaning, somewhat different from reference in that another word takes the place of the thing that is being discussed. Types of substitution: nominal, verbal, and clausal. Whereas reference is a relation between meanings, substitution is a grammatical relationship. Types of cohesive relation: linguistic level. Types of cohesive relation is reference, linguistic level is semantic. Types of substitution: nominal substitution. Nominal substitutes: for noun had, one, once. For nominal complement, the same. For attribute, so. For example, John seems to be intelligent. Is he really so? Nominal substitution. The pronoun one is often used in nominal reference. Let's go and see the bears. The polar ones are over on that rock. In this sentence, ones is taking the place of bears in the previous sentence. Winter is often so down. The same is true for the summer. Now let's look at verbal substitution. The verbal substitution in English is do. Verbal substitutes: for verb, do, be, have. For process, do the same, likewise. For prepositions, do so, be so. For example, the words didn't come to the same as they used to do. I finally called on him. I have wanted to do so for a long time. Clausal substitution. The clausal substitutes: for positive, so. For negative, note. In clausal substitution, the entire clause is presupposed and the contrasting element is outside the clause. Clausal substitution. For example, is there going to be an earthquake? It says so. So presuppose the whole of the clause there is going to be an earthquake, and contrastive environment is proved by the says, which is outside it. Has everyone gone home? I hope not. Halliday and Hasan's taxonomy of cohesive devices. Ellipsis. Dilation of words, expression of phrases. Simply substitution by zero. Types of ellipsis: nominal, verbal, and clausal. Types of ellipsis: nominal ellipsis. Ellipsis within the nominal group. For example, here are the 13 cards. Take any. Now give me any three. Some say one thing, others say another. Which hat will you wear? This is the best. Have another chocolate. No thanks. That was my third. Smith was the first person to leave. I was the second. So, these were about cohesion and coherence. Our lesson is over. Goodbye. Next, see you in the next our video lessons.